Hey, what's up? Hello. Quick Q&A. See if the Wi-Fi is back on. Let's see. Pop that there. Bam. There we go. Boo. Can you guys see me okay? Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, what's up? Hope you guys are doing well. Let's see here. Waiting for my computer to start up. Just give me a quick thumbs up in the chat if you guys can hear me okay. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. And feel free to ask me any questions. This is a chance for anyone who comes into my stream to ask questions and engage. Topics. We can talk about weightlifting, we can talk about business, or we can talk about mindset. Different types of training, things like that. I am just waiting on my computer over here. My computer is restarting, so while my computer restarts, I'm just going to be up here in chat. If you're in the chat, please feel free to give me a thumbs up. And live Q&A. Feel free to ask me any questions on a variety of subjects. Some things that we could potentially talk about. Thanks for everybody coming in. We can talk about weightlifting, nutrition, business, mindset. Give you a look at the layer over here. This is my little layer over here. You can kind of see this is where I like to hang out, right? Kind of do my stuff. How are you guys doing in the chat? I don't see any chats. Is anybody going to be brave enough to put a chat in? Who's going to be the first person to put a chat in there? Let me double check my Wi-Fi real quick. Yeah, it looks like my Wi-Fi is good, but I don't see any chats. You got to engage and chat with me, guys. Come on, put some chats in. Hello from Ireland. Hey, Padra, you're from Ireland? That's cool. Welcome into the chat. How is your day? And what are you up to? And how is your weekend going? Are you having a good weekend? Where am I from? Can you take a guess? Can you take a guess based on what I'm wearing and my flag in the background? Could you take a guess of where I'm from? I'm in the United States, in case you didn't get that. But yes, I am in the United States, my friend. Oh, you said not Iran? Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Iran personally. But race, religions, and politics. Oh, right. 5 minutes into the chat, and we've got stuff about Iran. Yeah, Iran, man. Mm. Mm. Iran and Israel, United States, bombings. Good times. Good times. Persia. And what they. Hi, greetings from Spain, Barcelona. Barcelona in the house. Okay. I guess you could say Persia. Persia, okay. Let's see here. Trying to get a good vantage point. Greetings from Spain. Hello, Spain. Hello, hello, hello. Firefighter GR, Ferran, Padra. So, what brings you guys into the chat? You guys just kind of relaxing? What are you guys doing? Hello, good evening. Hello, and good evening to you as well. Good evening to you as well. Man, you know what it's kind of feeling like? Random scrolling? Yeah, I feel that. I needed to get some computer work done, but my laptop said, "Oh, you've got a." The laptop said that there was an issue and it had to restart, so I've got to restart my laptop. You want to ask me something? All I ask is that you keep it appropriate. You can be crazy, you can talk about some stuff, but just keep it somewhat appropriate on the channel. Just look, I don't want my stream to get banned. I want a yes or a no. Oh wow. There's an interesting question. And I want a yes or a no. Firefighter. Where are you from? Are you in before I answer yes or no, honestly, what's your age group? Age category? Or you're in Greece? Okay. Firefighter wants to know, do you think the silence of a man after a breakup affects the woman more than chasing her? Yes. You don't chase the woman. Absolutely not. 100%. What you need to do is be silent and she will come to you. Because what women don't respond to rationality, women respond to emotion. So, if she loves you or you gave her something that was special, she is going to respond with emotion. So, if you chase her, then women don't like men that chase them. Not in the long term. In my experience, that's a no-no. In my experience, that's a no-no. 33. So it's about 5:47 over here. It's getting close to 6 o'clock on the East Coast. Firefighter, you said 33. Don't know what that means, but did that answer your question, Firefighter? Did that answer your question? Yeah, if you guys want any dating advice, you can ask me. I'll give you some dating advice. I've been in a bunch of You great? Yeah, Firefighter. Yeah. So, what's your age group, man? You don't gotta tell me your exact age, but what's your age group, man? Like, what's your, you in your 20s, you younger, in your 30s. Like, what's your age category? And yeah, you agree? Yeah, that's been my experience, man. When it comes to women, you may find a lady now and then that wants you to chase her here and there, but that's not going to last. That won't last. Silence is better. Women respond to silence. Oh, you're 33? Oh, 33. Okay. So I'm in my I'm almost 40. So, okay. Yeah, so let me ask you this, my friend. Why do you ask such a question? What makes you ask this type of question? That's a good question, by the way. That's a really good question. What makes you ask this question to me? And, you can think of me as like Uncle Chris. Like, I'm a Navy veteran, I'm an entrepreneur, I've got some life experience. Okay. Firefighting says it's a effing loop nowadays in relationships. So I don't know what the dating scene is like in Greece. But yeah, at least in the United States. Well, I'll tell you what. Lilith, good morning. Well, you won't. Let me ask you, firefighter. Do you have the ability to travel and do you have a passport? Because if you're trying to find a lady or a woman, I'm going to tell you exactly where you should go. You got income and you got the ability to travel a little bit, like pay for a plane ticket and go somewhere and come back. I'll tell you where to go and you'll get married. You'll come back married, I promise to God. Even if you're just average attractive. How tall are you? Good morning, Lilith. Sorry, guys, I had to take about a week or so off of YouTube. I took a little bit of time off streaming because, I've got a lot of projects going on, and I was getting where I was mentally getting ready to just explode. So I'm going to try to start streaming at least on the weekends a little more frequently. Because I keep these silent currently, not for revenge, but because I feel it. Yeah, so I don't know what the situation is. So, firefighter, Happy New Year, Chris. Lilith, well, welcome back in and Happy New Year's. Yeah, it's still kind of New Yearish. Yeah. Let me get up here into the chat on my computer and I'll start typing with you guys a little bit. Put a little music on in the background, something like some, let's see, deep focus. Your device ran into a problem and needs to restart. What the hell? Why did my device run into a problem and why does it need to restart? That's not good. Oh, Lilith. Chinese New Year. Is it Chinese New Year already? Oh, it is. Mooncakes. Lilith. Oh, so are y'all getting the mooncakes, the moon pies? The Chinese moon pies? I used to be married to a Chinese woman, and I remember, I forget, but it was the moon pies. It was the moon pies for the Cantonese. What's that? Entrepreneur, man. I'm a personal trainer and I'm a licensed insurance agent. This is my office I work out of. So, red pocket. Pocket. Yeah, red pocket. There you go. You got to get the envelopes. You got to have the envelopes. You got to have the red envelopes for the money in it. Yeah. What about you, man? I always tell people that they should consider, people should very much consider getting into sales as an occupation if you don't do it. Sales is the best occupation in the world. All right. All right, what you got here? Oh, you're a firefighter. Well, thank you, man. You're a hero, dude. Oh, so you like the weight train. If you're a firefighter, you like to lift weights. So you know I'm a personal trainer as well. So if you have any questions on recovery or if you're trying to stay in shape, obviously as a firefighter, you're paid to stay in shape. But I mean, if you have any questions about like leaning out or getting stronger or specifically nutrition or efficiency, that's cool, man. That's cool. I feel you on that. But don't forget, I am a professional trainer, like certified. And when I was in the military, my job was there. Not saying that you don't know what you're doing. I'm simply offering that's something that I've spent about 20 years of my life studying at a university level. So, if you have any actual questions, those are things that I'm just kind of passionate about. So since you're a firefighter, I would, give you some free tips just on stream. Because a lot of the stuff on stream that I tell people when they hire me, then I charge them for that information. So that's just kind of my way of, I like firefighters. I like people that protect and serve. That's all I meant by that. But yeah. And lifting isn't really that hard, but understanding how to train for hypertrophy or understanding the nutrition, that can be a little tricky for some people. That can be a little tricky. But if not, that's cool. Come in here, over through here, Control Alt. Let's go here. Headset, Jabra, device. Okay, if you say fix your cardio, what do you mean by that? Are you talking about cardio as far as, cardio isn't really a real, cardio can mean a lot of things. You mean your aerobic capacity, your ability to utilize oxygen, your VO2, your zone 2, your glycolic energy system, or in layman terms, are you trying to have more stamina at the same size with the same power? Or are you willing to reduce your power output for consistency? Because you always have, the more power you generate, the more you can do at once, usually the less cardiovascular strength you're going to have. You can, if you train a marathon, for example, or a long bike ride, you can train your body to have a lactic threshold. You can train yourself to be able to push through. But if you're training to sprint, that's a different type of sprint. So it kind of depends on how you're training, how much anaerobic work you're doing, and then you need to balance that with your workload. And then, it's a little bit I studied sports science for a while, so my brain's kind of like a scientist at this when I think about it. Okay. I want to fix ability for oxygen. Okay, so oxygen uptake. Well, so I know you train, but have you ever gone into a performance center where they put the little thing in your mouth and nose? Do you know what your VO2 capacity is? Do you actually know what do you know what your VO2 capacity is? Because some fire stations let you get your VO2. Okay, so just give me 1 second. So I'll show you this right here. So for the VO2 requirements for firefighters, you want your VO2 max to be 1582 over 1500. So you want to be in the 35 percentile, right? So we got to look up something real quick. So it's the rate at which you can intake and transport and use oxygen. So your VO2 capacity is essentially how much oxygen that your lungs can pull in, right? So if you're having to carry a hose with a team or carry equipment or you need to push hard, your VO2 capacity is how much oxygen you can pull in. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So basically you need to do HIIT training, not high intensity training, but interval training, 30 seconds hard, 90 seconds easy times 10. 4 minutes hard, 3 minutes easy times 4. That's the 4x4 protocol. So 4 minutes hard, 3 minutes easy. I recommend aerobike or hill sprint. So what you want to do is you want to do something, hill sprints, heavy carries. But the heavy carries are different. That's anaerobic threshold. So VO2 capacity, think about an air bike. Think about sucking in oxygen and doing it like 4x4, right? 4 minutes hard, 3 minutes easy for 7 minutes total times 4, right? Or 30 seconds hard, 90 seconds easy times 10. So those two protocols are what like Olympic caliber athletes do. So you want to use the VO2 capacity in separate sessions from your anaerobic work, right? Because you can be strong all you want, and being strong is great. You want to be strong, right? You want to like have the muscle, but you also want to make sure that you can keep a steady, hard pace. Your VO2 capacity is one of the best indicators for longevity in your life. Your grip strength, VO2 capacity, and your bone density, essentially. Oh, well, it depends on how you're lifting, man. So when you say lift weights, I don't, from a sports scientist perspective, I don't know what lift weights means. And I know a lot of people think that sounds condescending, but I don't know if you're training for hypertrophy. I'm thinking 3 days just weights, 2 days only aerobics. Well, it depends, man. It depends on how you're training. It depends on your program, right? It depends on if you're doing full bodies, if you're doing splits. It depends on how your weight training is. You know what I mean? Okay, so if you're doing hypertrophy work, if you're doing hypertrophy work, right, but push-pull legs could be hypertrophy, but push-pull legs could also be strength. It kind of depends on the amount of weight that you're lifting relative to your strength, how frequently you're doing that, right? So, I mean, if you're doing hypertrophy work as a firefighter, I mean, you should probably be doing some strength training with that as well, because hypertrophy and strength training are kind of different. But what I like to do, I'll tell you what I recommend. I'll tell you what I would recommend, just like a program for you. Okay. Push-pull legs is great. Great. I think it's a balanced approach. So, how are you measuring your progress right now? All right, firefighter. How are you measuring your progress? Right? How are you currently measuring your progress? How are you currently measuring your progress? Because training for hypertrophy, yeah, how are you measuring your progress? No, like how are you said you are training, you said you do hypertrophy, you said you do push-pull legs. Um, like in the last 6 months, how have you been measuring your progress? Because you got to remember from the sports science world, when someone says, I need to lift weights or do cardio, that's not really how sports scientists really look at things. You know what I'm saying? Because what you say cardio and what I think of cardio, there's different energy systems in the body. It depends on a lot of factors, right? That's like saying, hey, do you like cars or trucks? Well, what type of car? What type of truck? Like there's a lot of variables to consider, especially when it comes to training. You know what I'm saying? Um, the biggest thing is how are you measuring your progress, right? And I'm trying to get an answer from you. So based on how you answer is going to give me. I mean, in my life before I became a licensed insurance agent, when I was in the United States Navy, I was an ACFL. So I had to go through like 600 different sailors to different aerobic programs, different strength programs, and I trained athletes for a long time in my life. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to gauge. Caleb, yeah, what's up, Caleb? Welcome to the channel. So yeah, so firefighter. So the thing is, you're a firefighter, and then you said you training for hypertrophy. 4 kilos clean muscles in the last 6 months. Well, that's cool. That's how you look. But that's what I'm saying. If you're a firefighter, you shouldn't like just train for hypertrophy. You know, hypertrophy is not strength training. And if you're a firefighter or an athlete, you can do hypertrophy training, but your hypertrophy training needs to be paired with strength training, strength and conditioning. So as a firefighter, I would be focusing on strength and conditioning so you can stay strong, your VO2 capacity so you can push so you don't die. And then the last priority is your hypertrophy, because you'll get some hypertrophy through strength and conditioning, good diet, VO2 capacity. But if you're a firefighter and you're training for pure hypertrophy, that's not very good in my opinion, because pure hypertrophy is not going to save your life, right? Well, where's the muscle? Brother, I'm 6'4", 230 pounds, right? Trust me, if you just go look at my page, I've got some decent muscle on me. And I'm not a bodybuilder, right? I was an athlete. So, and I've had 3 herniated discs when I used to deadlift over 700 pounds, just to give you a little bit of my resume. So, yeah. Anyways, when it comes to training, I've trained about 700 people over the last 10 years. And what I can tell you is this, if you're a firefighter, your main goal, okay, in my opinion, should be a program based on strength and conditioning and power output, right? You need to be able to pick up stuff and carry it. And when I say what's your progress, how you measure your progress, you know, I would be sticking to 6 to 8 reps, 5 to 6 to 8 reps a lot of times. And each week, I wouldn't be training to failure. You know, like when you take like side dumbbells, right? And you do a bunch of side dumbbell laterals, right? You can do those 15, 20 reps and you can burn yourself out, right? But for a firefighter, you need to be having like front squats, sled pushes, heavy deadlifts, rack pulls, overhead press, and you need to be twisting your body, because as a firefighter, you know, you need to be strong. You need to be able to pick up things. So I would build a program around the functional movement patterns: vertical push, vertical pull, horizontal push, horizontal pull, a hinge, a carry. And I would develop a strength and conditioning routine where you do the basic movement patterns. Remember, as sports scientists, you don't train exercises. What we do is we train movement patterns. There's a squat, there's a pull, there's a push, there's a hinge, there's a carry, and you need to get as strong as you can in each one of those modalities. You get what I'm saying? Then, right, okay. So, now don't train too hard when you're building strength, because strength is actually more neurological, right? Strength is more neurological than muscular, right? And what I mean by that is force equals mass times acceleration. So I would figure out where your weakest areas are, whether it's a squat, a hinge, a press, a pull, whatever it is, and you get stronger using full body functional movement patterns. And as those functional movement patterns, as you get stronger in those movements, okay, so you're a better presser. So for me, because I've torn this, okay, I'm a puller. I have really good pulling strength, and I was always weaker on my press. I was weaker on my press, but stronger on my pulls. I am leg and back and shoulder dominant, okay? So, right, especially back pulls. I don't really know what you mean by back pulls. What do you mean by back pulls? Like Vertical. You mean, what do you mean by back pull specifically? Because I don't know what back pull means. What do you mean by back pull? Do you just mean like pulling stuff? Oh, well, here's the thing, man. If you're a firefighter and you don't have good pulling strength, I mean, you got to think you're pulling hoses, you're carrying people, you're picking up stuff and moving. I mean, I would think that having a strong back would be very important as a firefighter. So, yeah, I would be doing movements that allow me to get a stronger. So, you have your lower back, your spinous erectus, right? I would be doing things that help strengthen my hips, my lower back, and my core, like heavy hex bar carries, heavy rack pulls, heavy chin ups, weighted chin ups, right? And I would focus on 5 to 8 repetitions under control, and I would make sure my strength is going up each week. And as your strength goes up, your hypertrophy work, you don't really have to measure. Okay, so let's say you start out where you can row 135 pounds, right? You know, very basic row. Like you're going to take 135 pounds, right? And you're going to do it like this. So let's say you're going to go where you're going to do 135 pounds on a row, like this, right? And you're getting where you can pull it good. Okay. You get to where you can do 135 pounds, right, for sets of 5 to 8, and it's feeling good. You know what I'm saying? Now, if your barbell row goes from 135 pounds to 225 pounds over the next month or so, your body's going to be thicker. As long as your barbell movement is getting stronger, what you do after that strength work is just filler. So focus on a couple key exercises that you get stronger on, right? And after you do those key exercises for strength, as long as you're getting stronger, what you do after that is just think about putting blood into muscle. That's the best routine. Because what it does is it allows you to continue to get stronger. And as you get stronger, you'll be able to lift more weight. Now, you do need to make sure you get a good contraction, you get under control. Yeah, cool. So what you do is you don't just want to, this is what I was getting at, man. You don't just want to do the hypertrophy work. So here's the cool thing. You get stronger on those rows. That's your main exercise. Pick one main movement for each body part and get as strong as you can on that movement. Maybe it's a squat, some type of press, some overhead press, some row, some curl, weighted pull-ups, weighted dips. Get stronger in the 5 to 8 rep range. Then, after you do that, then you can pick auxiliary movements, which are like your accessories, and then you can use those for your hypertrophy, right? You can do it all in the same session, or you can do it, train each body part twice a week, where the first, like you do like upper body, lower body, upper body, lower body. Upper body day 1, it could be your back focus, right? And that's a strength day. So you focus on your rows, your deadlifts, your weighted pulls. 3 or 4 days later, when you come back to upper body day, it's back day again. Well, in that day, instead of lifting really heavy, now you do your hypertrophy work. And you can hit a heavy session every 7 to 8 days with a hypertrophy session flushed in between. Now, depending on your workload, how much you're eating, how much you're drinking, the amount of rest that you have, those are variables that you need to consider when you program. Now, for your VO2 capacity, your best thing you can do for VO2 capacity, in my honest opinion, is this. Get a heavy weighted vest, right? What I mean is like a good weighted vest, right? Get you a good weighted vest, or you get a hex bar deadlift that you hold from the side, and you start take 200 to 300 pounds on a deadlift, pick it up, and start walking that shit, right? Because your VO2 capacity to lift and move will greatly be affected if you do that movement. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Then make sure that you're eating enough. You're a fireman. Don't do none of that low carb bullshit. Okay? I gotta go pee now. Give me a second. I gotta go into the house. If I go out here, if the internet cuts out, forgive me. It might cut out for a second as I transcend over here. So, give me 1 second. To tell you the truth, man, can you hear? Hey, firefighter, can you hear me okay? I'm going to tell you something that'll change your life. Ow. Give me 1 second. I know what I want. I know exactly what I want. I love this recipe I'm about to make. Yo, what's up?